Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. Still got my liquid death. So today's video is going to be a book review on Painted Devils by Margaret Owen. This is the second book in the Little Thieves series, and apparently this is going to be a trilogy. I think it's just a trilogy, but it's definitely going to have another book at least. And I just kind of wanted to give you my thoughts on this since I did do a review for Little Thieves when it came out. First off, it's very fun to get back to following Vanya. She's a very interesting character. She's kind of, I'd say kind of morally gray, but she's just got a lot of issues, trauma going on with her, which makes her the way she is. Essentially, the premise of this book is that you're following Vanya because she accidentally starts a cult regarding the Scarlet Maiden, and then the Scarlet Maiden might actually be real and demanding a virgin sacrifice in Emmerich. And it's just, again, like some fantastic hijinks, but also dark and real and interesting. So that's kind of where you're going. That's kind of the premise when you're going into it. There were aspects of this book that I liked more than book one, which honestly very much surprised me because I did really enjoy book one. It was pretty good. But I loved the aspects of this more. I love the banter in this between the characters and the way the author writes humorously. Like, she's just so funny and it's just very enjoyable when you're in it. Like, there's one, I screenshotted it and sent it to my husband, but there's one quote that's like, an unparalleled demon from hell in your sleep. And it was so funny. It was really great. While this is humorous and there's a lot of laughter and banter, I also really liked the heavy themes in this. There's a lot of heavy topics that this handles in such a good way, such as trauma and self-loathing and how those play out with how you interact with others, but also calling yourself out and being like, just because people have let you down in the past does not mean you cannot trust people moving forward, but also recognizing it's hard for you to trust people moving forward. When you hate yourself or you've been told you're ugly, or you feel ugly, or just different things about yourself that you don't like, and you really internalize that self-loathing, how that plays out, but also what it feels like for somebody to love you unconditionally. Like, there's so many like hidden things in this book. Maybe not hidden, like they're pretty obvious, I guess, but there's so many things in this book about trauma, self-loathing, learning to love yourself, learning to trust again, how trauma affects you regardless, and how you sometimes make the same mistakes because you're afraid of being hurt or being in that same position. Like, the way it dealt with all of that was really good, I think. And I think, let me find it. So there is like a trigger warning page in here, and I'm gonna read it for you because this is a lot of what it talks about in the book, and I thought it was really well done, but let me just read it. It says, if you've made it through Little Thieves, you ought to be fine with this one. That being said, this story contains the following potential triggers: verbal and physical abuse, abandonment, anxiety and panic attacks, blood and gore, mention of animal death, off-page, misuse of animal carcass, cults, mentions of death of a parent, off-page, body image issues, and sexual situations. And I thought the author navigated those and handled those really well. And I was so surprised how she was able to balance handling those really difficult, hard topics, making me feel for myself, making me feel for Vanya, while also making me laugh and being lighthearted and silly and funny, and just being able to tie all of that into this book. I think that's why this book was better to me than the first one and why I liked it a lot more, because it was handled really well. And I thought a lot of the things that were said in this book about these topics of self-loathing, trauma, what be it, loving yourself, I thought it was good. Like, I was able to relate to it, and I was able to see like, yeah, like people need to hear that. So I really liked that, and I was kind of shocked because I didn't think it would get that deep with how humorous and funny it is, but I thought she did a really good job, and I really enjoyed it. I'm so upset at the ending though, Margaret Owen, like really? But it did save me a little bit because at the ending it does say the story will continue in book 3. So thank goodness she did that, or I think I would be angry. Yeah, it says the Pennegeist will return in book 3. So she probably did that so she didn't get hate mail, to be fair. Or just like in general, she just gave you a warning that there will be a book 3 and she's not just going to end it that way, because if she had. So I'm looking forward to book 3 whenever that comes. But yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Really funny. I'll see if I can find that quote because that was hilarious. Okay, I found it in the book. if this is a spoiler for you, it's very early on. It's like page 83, chapter 6. If you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, stop watching now or skip ahead, whatever. But this is just a hilarious quote and I have to share it with you. I have to. So if you don't want to be spoiled for anything in the book, click away. So Emmerich and Vanja are in a one-bed situation, which is hilarious and one of my favorite tropes, surprisingly. And they wake up the next morning. They didn't do anything, but they're sleeping in the same bed. They wake up the next morning, and when I roll over, Emmerich is staring at me with the expression best summarized as haunted. Bizarrely, he seems to have slept under his coat, a towel, and several unbuttoned shirts. You, he says blearily, are an unparalleled devil from hell in your sleep. What? Emmerich rubs his eyes. You stole all the blankets and then you rolled them up like a crepe, so they were stuck on your side. And then, when I tried to take one off the top, you turned over, looked me straight in the eye, and said, and I quote, "I'll kill you." I never. You followed it up with, "I'll make it look like an accident." That unfortunately tracks. I could not stop laughing in that moment, because that's probably what I would say about John and he would say about me. But it was absolutely hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing, and that was very early on in the book, and I was like, this bodes well. I just needed to share that glorious information with you. But yeah, all of that to say, I'm very much looking forward to book 3 and how they continue the story. I don't know where she'll go from here, because I feel like each one is a separate problem, so I think she'll create another problem for book 3, but there is an obvious thing that was not tied up in the end of book 2. But if you enjoyed Little Thieves, I think you will love Painted Devils. We get a lot of the same characters again, and it was a good time. It was really fun, really deep, moved me a little bit. So very, very good. 4 stars. Well, those are all my thoughts on Painted Devils. Please comment down below and let me know if you've read this book, what you thought, or if you're interested in reading it or this series. But as for now, that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.